Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Mindset and Business Dojo. I am John and I am your Mindset Business Coach. Today, we are exploring the topic of reframes and why it's so important that you are very intentional with the way you frame things in both your life and business. So for those of you, first of all, who are not familiar with the idea of a reframe, it's our ability to shift our perspective around a certain situation, topic, or the meaning we've given to something in the past. For example, you could have something that's happening in your relationship right now with your spouse, with your marriage, that you view from a negative perspective. Maybe it's something related to your business, and your spouse is starting to ask you different questions about your business, about your plans, or why you're not as home as much as she might like to. And you get caught up in the stress of it. You get caught up in, oh, well, I'm doing everything I can for the family. You're looking at it from a negative perspective versus flipping the script and asking yourself, well, what's the actual intention behind the conversation? This is clearly something that's been lingering on my spouse's mind, and now she's come to me with it, which means I now have the opportunity to change it. I now have the opportunity to improve it. So it's our ability to be able to shift the way we see a certain situation, and it's why mindset is so important. The way you frame the situation is everything. The way you frame the challenges that you have on a day-to-day basis, the way that you frame things to your team and your employees to get them to see things from different perspectives. For example, maybe they go into a job as a technician and the customer or the client is difficult to deal with. And your employer or your employee, your team member might be viewing it from a negative perspective and focusing on how crappy this customer is and the problems that they cause. But there's other ways to look at the situation. There's other ways to consider what's actually happening here. And what's the best meaning I can give to this situation for it to serve me and to be something that actually helps me. So that's a frame I like to give for everything in my life. What is the best way I can look at this situation? Or what is the best meaning I can give to this situation that's going to serve me, that's going to be helpful, that's going to be useful, which is what we actually want to be doing. So I want you to zoom out right now from your business, from your life, and ask yourself, where am I looking at a problem or a situation or a context from the wrong perspective? It's almost like you have glasses. And if you were to change the lens, you would see it from a totally different angle. And that's the way we want to view it, right? Everything comes at us with a negative and a positive. There's two ways to view the situation. There's multiple ways, more than multiple ways, but we can look at it from a positive or we can look at it from a negative situation. For example, right? You get feedback from a customer or you get feedback from someone about your business. You can look at it from a negative perspective and think about how much of an asshole they are, or how you didn't want that feedback. Or you can look at it from a positive perspective and reframe it and ask, well, what can I learn from this situation that's going to make me a better business owner? That is the power of the reframe. It's asking yourself a better question that's going to elicit a better result for you. Most of your problems that you have in both business and life are mindset related. They're related to the way that you're viewing the situation. They're related to the way that you're communicating with your team, with your spouse, with your kids. Just think of, zoom out from business and let's look at relationships for a second. Being a dad, being a husband, being a team leader. How you communicate it is everything. The way you frame the situation is everything. The way you frame the expectation from the beginning is everything. That is why the stuff that we teach goes way beyond just business. It's the mindset stuff that most tactics and strategies will never, ever touch on. because they're only focusing on something that is at the top level, which is at a surface level. They're not going into the bigger picture, thinking the principles, the things beneath the surface that are actually driving these things in the first place. So once you learn these skills and the 3 pillars that we use inside of the dojo, which is, change your story, or know your story, change your story, and train your story. This is going to be the skill set, the tools, and the techniques that's going to elevate you in every aspect of your life. Because now you have the ability to shift your perspective. Now you have the ability to communicate effectively. Now you have the ability to lead your team and be able to empower them and actually help motivate them to get the results that they want, because you have the ability to shift your frame. You have the ability to ask better questions. You have the ability to read someone's pattern and understand what their story is and help them change their story and help them train their story over and over again. So I want you to drop in the comments, what's your takeaway from this show today? What's something you've learned? And if you're watching on Facebook, share this out. All you got to do is hit share and share it on your profile. I would be more than appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you get a notification every time we go live. Hopefully moving forward, we're going to have an actual time that we do this consistently, so you know exactly when I will be going live. So until then though, be well, and as always, ascend higher.